return to the shortest month of all. I can hear the winter preparing for its fall. The morning frost is a bit thinner than before, like a guest who's lingering by the open door. The light stays a minute longer than yesterday, chasing the deep indigo shadows away. On the edge of February, standing in between the white of the snow and the ghost of the green. It's too early to bloom, but too late to freeze. There's a secret message in the trembling tree. My gloves, but I leave them unzipped. The script of the winter has been slightly rewritten, flipped. The breath from my lips isn't quite as white today. Something is coming from 1,000 miles away. The ice on the lake is starting to groan and sigh, looking up at the changing tint of the sky. On the edge of February, standing in between the white of the snow and the ghost of the green. It's too early to bloom, but too late to freeze. There's a secret message in the trembling trees. It's the hardest time to wait when the end is in sight, but we're still wrapped in the long winter night. Just a few more pages to turn in this book before we find the spring everywhere we look. On the edge of February, standing in between the white of the snow and the ghost of the green. It's too early to bloom, but too late to freeze. There's a secret message in the trembling trees. Just a little longer, wait for the thaw.
In the hallway of the house, the world is as quiet as a winter sleeping mouse. I step onto the porch in the pale early light, watching the remnants of a shivering night. I blow a soft breath into the morning air. It's not a thick cloud, just a ghost lingering there. The temperature is rising just a degree or two. The sky is trading gray for a dusty kind of blue. My morning breath is fading, losing its pull. The story of the season is no longer purely cold. footsteps sound different on the ground. Got a crunch on the ice, got a soft duet sound. The birds are awake and they're testing out a note. I'm loosening a button at the top of my coat. The frost on the railing is turning into dew. The world is waking up to something strange and new. The temperature that's rising just a degree or two. The sky is trading gray for a dusty kind of blue. My morning breath is fading, losing its fold. The story of the season is no longer purely cold. I remember the January when the air felt like glass, but now I feel the softness as the winter hours pass. It's a quiet transition, a shift in the soul, taking the frozen pieces and making them is no longer purely fading, fading until it's clear. Heavy armor hanging by the door, dark wool and leather, casting shadows on the floor. But carry the weight of the wind and the rain, shielding our hearts from the wintry pain. But today they look tired and a little bit worn, like soldiers who know a new era is born. Heavy coats in the hallway, soon you'll bow to rest. Deep in the closet, in your sea of wooden nest, fled to some warm through the dark and the sleet. But we're longing for something a bit more light and sweet. I see a light jacket peeking out from the back, breaking the line of the brown and the black. It's a bit too soon to make that great swap, but the winter's momentum is starting to dry. The pockets are full of old tissues and tears on the sink of a season that's about to cease. Heavy coats in the hallway, soon you'll go to rest. Deep in the closet, in your cedar wood nest, you've kept it so warm through the dark and the sleet. We're longing for something a bit more light and sweet. We'll miss the protection, the feeling of thick. Put the change in the air is a clever little trick. We're trading the safety for the freedom of skin, letting the new February in. Heavy coats in the hallway, soon you'll go to rest. Deep in the closet, in your silver net, you've got that so warm, ribbon dog in the sleep. But we're longing for something a bit more light and sweet. Rest easy, old friend, spring is calling.
The black of the asphalt is showing its face, winning the battle in this urban space. The piles of snow in the corners of the lot are shrinking away from the little light we've got. Trickle and flow, a rhythmic little sound. The pulse of the city is coming back to the ground. Melting on the pavement, slushy and gray. The winter is slowly washing away. Not quite a puddle, not quite a sheet, but a bridge to the spring underneath our feet. My shoes are a mess, but my heart is quite clean, chasing the dream of a world that is green. The tires of the cars make a splashing refrain, welcoming back the forgotten old rain. The sun isn't strong, but it's doing its best, putting the ice to a final long test. Melting on the pavement, slushy and gray. The winter is slowly washing away. Not quite a puddle, not quite a sheet, but a bridge to the spring underneath our feet. It's messy and muddy and a bit of a chore, but I love what it means and what it's all for. The dissolution of the frozen and hard, even in this concrete backyard. In gray, the winter is slowly washing away. Not quite a puddle, not quite a sheet, but a bridge to the spring underneath our feet. Watch your step, the ice is losing. The curtain is thin, but the sun finds a way to start a new kind of February day. It's hidden the glass with a golden pale hue, searching for something it used to look through. The shadows are long on the wooden plank floor, but shorter than they were a week or two before. First light by the window, soft and so clear, telling the shadows the ending is near. It's warm on the sill, but it's cold on the pane. The winter's last whisper in a sun-drenched refrain. The dust in the air is a galaxy of gold, ignoring the stories that January told. I reach out my hand to catch a small spark, the first sign of fire after the long, heavy dark. The frost on the corner is starting to run, giving its life to the touch of the sun. First light by the window, soft and so clear, telling the shadows the ending is near. It's warm on the sill, but it's cold on the pane. The winter's last whisper in a sun-drenched refrain. I don't want to move from this rectangular glow, watching the world start to let go of the snow. It's a quiet invitation to wake up and see the light that is waiting for you and for me. First light by the window, soft and so clear, telling the shadows the ending is near. It's warm on the sill, but it's cold on the pane. The winter's last whisper in a sun-drenched refrain. Hold the light just a little longer.
It arrived in the night like a shy silver ghost, choosing the things that it loves the very most. The edge of the leaf, the rim of the stone, a delicate kingdom it built all alone. But it looks a bit weak and it looks a bit thin, like a battle it knows it's not going to win. Hesitant frost in the morning, touch the cold metal of the gate by the lane. It vanishes quick like a thought in the brain. The ice isn't hard, it's a soft sugar dust, broken and fading as the winter loses trust. The grass is already turning back to its brown as the white painted jewels are all falling down. Hesitant frost in the morning air, trying to stay when the sun is right there. A fragile white lace on the February ground, making a beautiful silent old sound. It's the last of the art from the Museum of Ice, before we start paying a different kind of price. Enjoy the pale sparkle while it's still in your sight, before it dissolves into pure liquid light. Hesitant frost in the morning air, trying to stay when the sun is right there. A fragile white lace on the February ground, making a beautiful silent old sound. Loosening the string that held you to my sleeves, like the branches are dropping their winter hardened leaves. You've kept my hand safe from the bite of the wind, but the season of hiding is about to be thin. Your thumb is a bit worn and the pattern is old, but you were my shield from the January cold. Goodbye, woolen mittens, into the drawer you go. No more making sculptures out of the heavy snow. My fingers are ready to feel the raw air, the touch of the world that is starting to bear. The leather and knit are a bit of a chore when the sun is already knocking at the door. I'll miss the soft warmth of your fuzzy dark skin, but I'm ready for the new air to come in. The pockets are empty of the warmth that you gave, but the light in the garden is starting to behave. Goodbye, woolen mittens, into the drawer you go. No more making sculptures out of the heavy snow. My fingers are ready to feel the raw air, the touch of the world that is starting to bear. We'll find you again when the year turns to gray, but for now I am putting the winter away. One finger at a time I'm letting you go, watching the temperature start to grow.
making sculptures out of the heavy snow. My fingers are ready to feel the raw air, the touch of the world that is starting to bear. Rest well in the dark. I'll see you in the fall.
The house is so quiet at 3 in the day. Your shadows of winter are drifting away. The beam of the sun hits the top of the shelf. The world seems to be waking up to itself. The motes in the air are a slow-moving sea, floating around in a state of being free. Warm dusk in the afternoon, dancing so slow, reflecting the light of the February glow. A golden transition in the middle of the room, tracing the way, the last of the bloom. The wood of the table is warm to the touch. It hasn't felt like this in a while, not this much. The scent of a house is shifting its tone from the heat and wood to the scent of the bone. I watch the small particles drift and then fall on the vintage old paper and the ivy-clad wall. Warm dusk in the afternoon, dancing so slow, reflecting the light of the February glow. Golden transition in the middle of the room, chasing away the last of the bloom. It's the simplest magic the light can provide, turning me inside to the feeling of outside. The stillness is heavy, but the heart is so light, wrapped in the forest of everything right. Of the bloom, just floating in the end on the light.
The surface was solid a week long ago, covered in layers of the heavy set snow. But the water is moving
somewhere deep in the dark, leaving its jagged and silver-etched mark. A groan and a sigh from the chest of the lake, a sign of the structure that's starting to break. Cracks on the frozen pond, spreading like veins. The winter is breaking its heavy-duty chains. Not safe for the skating, not safe for the feet, but a beautiful sign of the incoming heat. The edges are turning from white into blue as the liquid beneath is trying to get through. The bubbles are trapped in their glass-covered jail, looking so ghostly and looking so pale. One strike of the sun and the crystal will snap, escaping the winter's cold icy trap. Cracks on the frozen pond, spreading like veins. The winter is breaking its heavy-duty chains. Not safe for the skating, not safe for the feet, but a beautiful sign of the incoming heat. It's a violent kind of a beautiful thing, the messy destruction that leads us to spring. The strength of the ice was a beautiful lie. Now we're looking at the liquid blue sky. Incoming heat. Watch your step, Eddie. Watch your step, Eddie. Watch your step. The water is winning it. They look like they're sleeping against the gray sky, like skeletal fingers that are bone dry and high. But don't be deceived by the bark and the gray. Something is stirring in a secret old way. The sap is a river that's starting to flow deep in the wood where the cold doesn't go. The pulse of the dry branches are giving me old throb, the winter's last attempt to plunder and rob. But the life is too strong and the heart is too deep. The trees are awakened from their long, heavy sleep. The buds are like whispers, tightly wrapped dreams, waiting for the music of the mountainside streams. The wind tries to shake them and the frost tries to bite, but they're holding their breath for the arrival of light. The color is shifting from the brown to the red, a story of living that's waiting beat in her head. The pulse of the dry branches, a rhythmic old throb, the winter's last attempt to plunder and rob. But the life is too strong and the heart is too deep. The trees are awaking from their long, heavy sleep. We're all just like branches in the February chill, standing so quiet and standing so still. But inside the heart there's a beat and a drum, telling us clearly the morning has come. The pulse of the dry branches, a rhythmic bold throb, the winter's last attempt to plunder and rob. But the life is too strong and the heart is too deep. The trees are awaking from their long, heavy sleep. Can you feel it? The sap is rising.
The sun is at its highest in the middle of a sky. The clouds are all white and they're drifting on by. I step onto the sidewalk in the peak of the light. Everything is glowing in a brilliant pale white. I don't need the muffler or the extra thick coat. The air has a softer and milder old note. Known promenade through the heart of the town. The winter's last curtain is coming right down. A walk in the warmth of the midday embrace. A smile on every February face. The shops have their doors open just a small bit, letting the scent of the city life hit. The people are moving with a lighter old gait. No longer a reason to hurry or wait. The ice in the gutters is a musical flow, washing away the remains of the snow. Known promenade through the heart of the town. The winter's last curtain is coming right down. A walk in the warmth of the midday embrace. A smile on every February face. It's only an hour before the shadows return, but it's a lesson that we're all quick to learn. Savor the peak of the February day before the gold light starts to flicker away. Through the heart of a town, the winter's last curtain is coming right down. A walk in the warmth of the midday embrace. A smile on every February face. Keep on walking, the sun is on.
Left it on the bench by the pond in the park, wrapped around the wood in the cold and the dark. I forgot I even had it when the sun hit my skin, letting the warmth of the morning come in. It's a lonely blue stripe on the weathered old seat, discarded in favor of the incoming heat. The forgotten scarf in the February breeze, dancing with the shadows of the trembling trees. A witness to a season that's losing its hold, no longer a need to be shielded and cold. I'll go back to find it when the evening returns, but the heart has a lesson that it finally learns. We don't need the layers when the spirit is free, finding the rhythm of the life meant to be. The wool is still soft, but it feels like the past, a beautiful shelter that wasn't meant to last. The forgotten scarf in the February breeze, dancing with the shadows of the trembling trees. A witness to a season that's losing its hold, no longer a need to be shielded and cold. Let it sit there a while as a monument of sorts to the wintertime games and the icy old sports. A marker of the border between the ice and the flower, gaining its freedom in this golden lit hour. The forgotten scarf in the February breeze, dancing with the shadows of the trembling trees. A witness to a season that's losing its hold, no longer a need to be shielded and cold. I'll leave it there for just a little while. It doesn't smell like snow, and it doesn't smell like rain. It's the scent of the earth coming back to the brain. It's heavy with the moisture of the melting old deep, waking the things that were buried in sleep. It hits me in the face with a soft, cool hand, the breath of the water over the land. Damp breeze blowing through the hall, making the winter feel fragile and small. It's the smell of the mud and the scent of the clay, the promise of life on a February day. Swaying in a rhythmic old dance, meeting the wind in a lucky romance. The mist is all clinging to the edge of the hill as the world starts to lose its wintry chill. The grass is so thirsty for the touch of the air, leaving the shadows of the frozen old lair. Damp breeze blowing through the hall, making the winter feel fragile and small. It's the smell of the mud and the scent of the clay, the promise of life on a February day. It's not quite the spring, but it's not quite the ice. A beautiful mixture that's more than just nice. It's the breath of the change, it's the sigh of the thaw, the kindest transition the world ever saw. Fragile and small, it's the smell of the mud and the scent of the clay, the promise of life on a February day. Breathe it in, the earth is awake. The stars are all clear in the purple and black. There's no turning around and there's no turning back. The air has a stillness, but it isn't the freeze. Just a quiet anticipation in the trembling trees. The moon is a sliver of a silver bright light, watching the world in the middle of night. Night, waiting for spring in the February dark, waiting for the morning to ignite the first spark. A patient transition, a soft-spoken prayer to find the first blossom in the morning time air. Is all sleeping, but the heart is awake, listening to the ice as it starts to break. The promise of tomorrow is a weight and a grace, leaving a smile on the world's tired face. We've survived the long dark and we've survived the deep snow. Now we're just waiting for the green to start to grow. Night, waiting for spring in a February dark, waiting for the morning to ignite the first spark. A patient transition, a soft-spoken prayer to find the first blossom in the morning time air. It's the hardest of times when the end is so near, but the love for the season is finally clear. Just a few more hours of the shadows and black before the real light starts to find its way back. Night, waiting for spring in a February dark, waiting for the morning to ignite the first spark. A patient transition, a soft-spoken prayer to find the first blossom in the morning time air. Almost there, the morning is coming.
ceramic between my cold palms, like a choir is singing the wintertime songs. The steam rises up in a fragrant old cloud, while the wind at the window is bitter and loud. The taste of the honey, the scent of the leaf, a temporary shelter from the wintertime breeze. Season in a teacup, warm and so deep, keeping the promises that we're trying to keep. A garden of liquid in a world of blue white, a small bit of magic in the February light. Tea leaves as they swirl and they dance, like the thoughts in my head in a lucky romance. The flavor is herbal and the flavor is green, reminding the tongue of a world yet unseen. The porcelain is smooth and the heat is so real, changing the way that the weather can feel. Season in a teacup, warm and so deep, keeping the promises that we're trying to keep. A garden of liquid in a world of wine, a small bit of magic in the February on empty and my cup is all dry. I'll look out the window at the darkening sky, but the warmth will remain in my heart and my bones, making me feel like I'm never alone. Sailing in a teacup, warm and so deep, keeping the promises that we're trying to keep. A garden of liquid in a world of the white, a small bit of magic in the February light, separate soul, warm from the inside out.
The sky is a painting of the orange and rose as the February day starts to come to a close. It's taking its time to disappear from the sight, stretching the borders of the incoming night. The shadows are long and they're soft as a glove, falling on the world with a quiet old love. Slow sunset on the edge of the year, watching the winter slowly disappear. The buildings are glowing like they're made out of gold. No longer a reason to feel bitter and cold. The street lights are waiting to flicker and shine, but the sun is still hanging on the horizon old line. The clouds are all purple and the clouds are all gold. A story of beauty that is never grown. Slow sunset on the edge of the year, watching the winter slowly disappear. A golden pale curtain in the middle of space, leaving a glow on the world's tired face. It's the extra half hour that makes all the change, moving the heart to a wider old range. We're gaining the light that we lost in the dark, finding the embers and finding the spark. Slow sunset on the edge of the year, watching the winter slowly disappear. A golden pale curtain in the middle of space, leaving a glow on the world's tired face. Don't go yet, the light is so beautiful. The snow has all vanished from the garden side bed, and the scent of the dirt is filling my head. It's ancient and honest, and it's heavy and real, a different kind of a February feel. It's the smell of the roots and the smell of the rain, bringing the life back to the surface again. Return of the earthy scent, fresh and so deep, waking the garden from its long winter sleep. A fragrant old promise of a green to be seen in the spaces where the frozen art shadows have been. I dig my old shoes in the softening mud, feeling the rhythm of the early spring blood. The world is so messy, but the world is so right. Stepping away from the sterile and white. The worms are all stirring in the dark underground, making a beautiful silent old sound. Return of the earthy scent, fresh and so deep, waking the garden from its long winter sleep. A fragrant old promise of the green
trading my boots for a pair of the light. The world is no longer a struggle of white. The sidewalk is clear and the pavement is dry as the February clouds are all drifting on by. I'm no longer heavy and I'm no longer slow, finding a rhythm that I used to know. Lighter footsteps on the city side street, the sound of the winter in a rhythm retreat, a bounce in the walk and a lift in the soul, taking the movement under control. Than it was in the deep. I'm finally waking from the winter time sleep. I can dance on the corner, I can run through the park, no longer afraid of the ice in the dark. The movement is easy and the movement is free, finding the life that is meant to be. Footsteps on the city side street, the sound of the winter in a rhythmic retreat, a bounce in the walk and a lift in the soul, taking the movement under control. Snow, but now it's the time to let all of it go. Stepping so nimble and stepping so quick, leaving the heavy and leaving the city side street, the sound of the winter in a ribbon retreat, a bounce in the walk and a lift in the soul, taking the movement under control. One, two, three, keep on moving. Looking at the dirt and I'm whispering a name. The garden is playing a different old game. Crocus and lily and the tulip old bright, they're all just a dream in the February light. They're hidden so deep in their onion skin bed, but I can already see them in my head. The name of the flowers to come, a beautiful list of the colors and scents that the winter has missed. A promise of purple, a promise of red, a story of life that is waiting ahead. Season before, but the life in the bulbs is a mystery and more. I know where they are and I know where they'll be.
tinted ghosts only I can see. The rain will be coming to wake them all up, from the tiny little bell to the wide open cup. The name of the flowers to come, a beautiful list of the colors and scents that the winter has missed. A promise of purple, a promise of red, a story of life that is waiting ahead. We're naming our hopes and we're naming our dreams, moving to the music of the mountainside streams. The words are a prayer, the words are a key, unlocking the garden for you and for me. A beautiful list of the colors and scents that the winter has missed. A promise of purple, a promise of red, a story of life that is waiting ahead.
Hyacinth, Narcissus, they're all on their way.
The sun is dipping behind the city line. Everything's glowing in a vintage kind of wine. The air has a crispness, but the bite is all gone, like a memory of winter that's lingering on. I'm closing my eyes for a moment or two, thinking of all that we've been through. It's February's last wish to go out with grace, leaving a smile on the world's tired face. A gentle transition, a soft-spoken plea to remember the beauty of what used to be. The lanterns are lit in the park down the way, welcoming in the end of the day. I don't need the heater to keep me so bright. I'm fueled by the promise of the coming of light. The stars are all clear in the purple and gold. A story of hope is about to be told. It's February's last wish to go out with grace, leaving a smile on the world's tired face. A gentle transition, a soft-spoken plea to remember the beauty of what used to be. Yeah. Winter was long and the nights were so cold, but we're coming out stronger and we're coming out bold. Thank you for the silence, thank you for the snow, but now it's time for us to let go. tradition, a soft-spoken plea to remember the beauty